Hello artists! Today we're going to be making this fun clay mug with the help of a soda can. The first thing you need to do is wrap a sheet of construction around a soda can. You're going to tape paper to paper. Don't tape it to the can because you want the can to be able to slide out when you're finished. Now we're going to roll out a nice even slab of clay that's about 1/4 inch thick. So you can see I've got 2 sticks that are going to work as a track for my rolling pin. You might want to squeeze the clay with your hands a little bit to get it started. You might want to push on it with the heel of your hand as well. And then when you're ready, start rolling that rolling pin back and forth. You're going to need to stand up and really use your muscles for this one. You also need to check the size of your slab against the tracer that we're going to be using. Make sure it's big enough before moving on to the next step. Now I'm ready to add some texture. I'm using these rubber texture mats that are made for clay, but you could use other things as well. You could press in with any of the clay tools, you could try Legos, anything that adds some sort of texture to your slab of clay. Once it's covered with texture, we're going to bring that tracer back, and it takes at least 2 rounds of the tracer. The first thing I do is I put it down on the clay and take a bamboo skewer and trace around lightly. This round, I'm just trying to get the shape of the tracer. Remove the tracer, and it's the second lap where I'm going to really press all the way down to the clay mat. Sometimes it might even take 3 rounds. So go ahead and trace it. This time we're pressing down, and now we're just going to pull off that extra clay and save it because you're going to need it for the bottom of your mug and your handle. Now we're going to wrap this slab around the soda can. And if you've done clay projects with me before, you hopefully remember that you need to score, slip, blend, and smooth. So I'm going to line up the clay slab with the bottom of the can when I'm ready. And scoring can either be done by scratching with a stick, or this time I'm using a toothbrush. I'm dipping it into some slip and I'm scrubbing back and forth to score and slip at the same time. Wrap the slab around the can. Notice I'm doing it at the bottom of the can. I want to be able to lift the can out of the top later. So I am blending those pieces together with a popsicle stick, and then I'm going to smooth it out with my finger. And you're welcome to add extra textures at this point if you wanted to. You're going to need another slab of clay for the bottom of your mug and for the handle if you choose to add one. So grab your scraps, grab your sticks, roll out another slab of clay, and look how I'm just going to trace the bottom of my mug with the bamboo skewer. So again, I'm going to go around lightly the first time just to get the size of the clay that I need. I'll move the mug to the side, and then the second one, usually I press a little bit harder to get that piece of clay out. Put your circle aside. And once again, you are gonna score, slip, blend, and smooth. I'm really scrubbing with that toothbrush to turn that clay back into mud. I'm rubbing the part of the mug, I'm rubbing the bottom. I really want some nice slip to get this thing to stick back together. So once I get it on there, I'm going to flip it over and do my best to turn these 2 pieces of clay back into 1 piece of clay. So really do a good job blending and smoothing those 2 pieces together. Because remember, we want this thing to hold liquid, so you really got to do a good job adding that bottom. The thin texture mats that we have happen to be just the right size for a handle. So I'm going to roll that back into my clay and just trace the shape that it made by rolling that texture plate in there. When you attach the handle, it's going to be stronger if you overlap some of the clay. So I'm not attaching that short side, I'm actually overlapping 1 inch on the top of the handle and about 1 inch on the bottom of the handle. Score, slip, blend, smooth. And then your last step is going to be to just smooth out any rough spots. So you can do that by sticking 1 finger into the slip and just rubbing around the edges of your clay project. You need to add your name to the bottom. So don't forget to sign your work. It should have your name and your class code. Please don't put your initials. And if your mug is feeling sturdy enough, you can try pulling the can out. When you pull up the can, if the clay feels floppy, just put it back in there and let it sit for a few hours. And you can pull it out at another time. The paper is going to come out too. But again, if the paper feels stuck, let it sit for a while. Eventually it gets soggy and it's a little bit easier to pull out. So there it is, our mug made out of a slab of clay with the help of a soda can.